Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Thursday, August 27th. And NVIDIA earnings came out. NVIDIA is at 12 bucks. That means they beat and they guided even better. It's amazing. That's absolutely fantastic. So the kind of money and the kind of growth these guys are talking about is absolutely crazy. So I was not expecting that reaction on the Nvidia. Usually you get the like back and forth, and then they usually on the weak side. But I guess they even guided better. So there you go. So finally a little positive reaction on Nvidia after earnings, up 12 bucks. Other than that, they kind of lifting the whole Nasdaq with it, and I think we have a pretty good shot at a positive trading day given the reaction to the NVIDIA earnings report. Now we had news come out this morning. They're starting this Jackson Hole thing is starting, and they're going to have a big speech on Friday about it. So Kevin Warsh is going to be speaking at 10 o'clock tomorrow on the Jackson Hole. It's this big deal. It's a lot of things hinging on it, I guess. We'll see what happens at 10 o'clock. It's not a Fed meeting, but it's this annual symposium they have in Jackson Hole. Anyway, 8:30 we get international trade and jobless claims, retail and wholesale inventories, nat gas report at 10:30, Kansas City Fed manufacturing at 11, 7-year auction at 1. But not a whole lot of news to drive the market today, and I think NVIDIA is going to be the story to pay attention to. Right now, we're looking at the market, which is up in the overnight, and they are definitely moving. They gapped up actually, and I was super tempted to trade at the overnight, but you just had to be careful trading overnight reaction. I didn't do it, but I would have gotten caught in it because they gapped up, started moving higher. You figure like they could take this quite a bit higher. And but they didn't. They took it a little bit and then backed off again. So you can see here in the initial T, they gapped up, took it all the way up here to the 7740s, started backing off. They have been down here reverse retesting 7715, and we are pretty much holding at or above it. So as long as they hold above that nice 5-letter ledge here, I'm going to mark that up on my F1 so you can see it very clearly here. This is the volume edge right there. Okay. As long as they can see that edge, they can hold that edge. I think we have a shot at trading higher. If not, we have another potential edge right here, and if I want to adjust this a little bit as well on the F1, it's going to be right there. It's a nice area congestion. Marks that low volume area, and that tells us that as long as they hold at about that 7650 level, we have a good shot at trading higher. So far, they gapped up, and if they can hold about that 77.10, 10 to 15 here, we are pretty much in a spot where we can go higher. So I would start off with a slight bias to the upside, given the NVIDIA earnings, and let's see if they can that we're going to get some follow through, or they're going to reverse this in the day session. So initially, slight bias to the upside, looking to buy weakness against that 77.10s, rotations up. If they take out 10 and starts trading below it, I'm going to just take off that long bias and go back range bound again. If they start taking out this high 77.40s, just stay on the long side. See how far they want to take it. Running it up here to 77.70 would be your attractor area. So if you're long, that's kind of your target. If you can sit through it that far. But that's kind of how we get started on the ES, and let's see how it goes from there. If they start taking out the lows and start retracing, well, yeah, then the whole thing just gets reversed. That would be kind of an odd reaction, though. The AI trade is such a big deal, and if they got past the overnight from Nvidia, they're not down in the morning. I think they have a pretty good shot at a good day. So I'm going to be looking for strength to get started. If we see early weakness down to the 77.10, that would be a nice buying opportunity, but not more than that. If they take it lower than that, I would just take off the long bias and go back range bound. Nasdaq, as you can tell, is the one to pay attention to this morning. These guys have taken that absolutely higher. So they gapped up. You see, they gapped from they closed down here at the they ran it up into the close too, and then they gapped higher from there and took it all the way up here to 29.6. And you can see here they took it this little edge, little tail. They ran it higher in the overnight, and then they reversed it all the way down. So it's I was tempted because you were looking at this initial reaction. You don't do much about that. They were hard. They were kind of going back and forth a bit, and then started grinding higher. That's where I thought I was going to hop on a long trade, but I didn't. And because yeah, yes, the overnight is just not. It's like a hard trending overnight. It could have been, but uh, I wasn't going to do it. So it backed off all the way down here, reverse retesting the 470s. Now they're back up above the 530s. So we have pretty much taken out this area of resistance I had a concern about before. So we're well above that, and we are starting off on the long side. Let's see how far they can take it. The chances are Nasdaq is going to be the one leading us higher, and that we have a shot at. And if that happens, I think it drags the ES with it. But that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. So early on, I'm looking to buy weakness against that 530s, 470s down to the 420s. If the trade below the 420s, I'm taking off that long bias and going back range bound. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. And on the way up, there could be shorts setting up here. There's a decent resistance area at the against the 650 or what is that? 650s, 690s up to the 750s here. So these three resistance areas could potentially hold. So I would look for short setups there, but just not as aggressively. I have a bias to the upside given the Nvidia earnings, and we'll see how that develops as the day session kicks in. Now, the way I would look at it is like if I see the day session start kicking in and they immediately start like running that higher, I want to try to join that. See if they can start taking out a high and then start extending and then try to join it. If it's too volatile, I may not try it because if it whips back and forth too much, it's just going to be even if you're right on that direction, it's hard to get in without having a huge stop and putting a lot of money on the line. So, I mean, if you can, if it's a good trade location, I would definitely try to join that move if it develops. Looking at the bonds, bond market is not doing a whole lot. It's pretty much just sitting here twisting in the wind. So we have it, just twisting in the wind. I cleaned up a lot of these old levels all over the place. I just deleted them all. I added in a few new ones. So here we are, net to the upside, and we have been drifting higher. And I would start from the range band. I would probably keep a bias to the upside. If the trade below that 109.20, 110 here, I would be taking off that long bias. So it's right there, the 109, the 110 to the 109.30s. So this support area, if they take that out, I would maybe buy down one more level down at 109.20s, but that's it. So I'd be taking off a long bias if they trade below that 109.30s. So we'll see if they can. It's going to turn into a little bit more strength. I would expect big reactions on the bond market here by tomorrow when they get the Jackson Hole speech from Kevin Warsh and get that sense from for how they are going to be running monetary policy. So I think it's going to be a pretty big deal, that speech, in terms of setting the stage for monetary policy. So I'll take that. Right, so that's the bonds, range bound, slight bias to the upside. If they trade below 109.30, taking off that long bias. I haven't done anything on the cryptos in the overnight. Just kind of sat on the sidelines on those. And moving a little bit, oil, silver is hanging down a little bit. Gold has had a nice little move to the downside. Oil is back up to 82, going back and forth a bit. So we're watching it. The cryptos are back up flirting with 80,000 again. So they were up here briefly above it. Now, if they can take out 80,000 and hold above it, I think we have a pretty good shot at a nice crypto rally continuing here. So they took it from the low 60 up to 80, and they've been fighting against 80,000 on the Bitcoin future. So if they can get up above it, we could see a nice little crypto rally developing as well. So, but I haven't done anything on those in the overnight. Um, Back to the ES and the Nasdaq, and right now, pretty much where we left it. So that's kind of how we get started. Slight bias to the upside. Nasdaq is the one to watch to see if they're going to run this higher right from the get-go, and they could certainly drag the ES with it. So that's the way we're starting. All right, guys, we'll wrap it there. Pretty straightforward start. We have a little bit of news coming out at 8:30, but that's how we get started, and then we'll take it from there. All right, guys, good trading, and I'll see you back at 11:30. Later.